What's up, everybody?
Oh, yes.
Welcome to the Tug of More.
Welcome. Glad you're here.
That's right.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
If you're new, you might want to know what we're even doing here.
That's right.
Just a conversation between two friends.
That's all it is.
We talk about where we are. Why are we stumbling already?
I don't know. It's where we are, where we want to be. There's a fight. There's a tension. There's a struggle to get to where we want to be. We know we're called to more. We know that we want to get there, but right now we're just where we're at.
But if you are a consistent listener, you already know all that.
That's true.
And so you're just hanging out with us. We're just trying to bring you into the conversation of where we are today and really some deep, deep thought stuff.
Yeah, because that's the problem. The two of us are deep thinkers about things, and often we have deep thinking conversations. And so we just had this great idea that maybe other people would want to come along on the journey.
But then sometimes we talk about not deep things.
That's true.
Like, did you know that we're having chaos in our parking lot here at Moore Church?
Yes.
So our parking lot is buns, as they say.
Yep.
And so we've got to get the whole thing repaved. Well, that's about to be a mint.
Yep, a big mint. It's going to cost a ton of money.
Yeah, so we haven't done it yet. And so the lines are not even visible. And so apparently a couple weeks ago, people got triple parked in.
Which is very confusing to me.
I don't know what's wrong with these people.
I don't understand how when you get out of the car, you don't look and realize, oh, I'm triple parked. I should get back in the car and move it. Maybe it's like
everyone is parked this way. Maybe I should not park that way.
But apparently there's chaos. So then we got a piece of equipment.
We got a piece of equipment for free. That's a line striper.
But
you get what you pay for.
Yep, and it was free. And so they're crooked and jagged, and so we only did one stripe. We only did Aaron saw it with that next day. He's like, "Are you going to finish this?" And I said, "No."
Well, no, we are,
but not with that piece of equipment.
We got to rent a real piece of equipment.
Yeah, we're not going to use. I said we used it and realized that looks like someone drew the lines while they were riding up and down on a horse.
So these are problems you would not have if you just built a brand new building.
That's true.
But that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
So we're just working with what we got here, and we're just trying to pimp my ride.
Yep, but also we're judging people and how they park.
Oh, judging. Well, I heard we brought up in staff meeting, and they said that on Wednesday nights when the teenagers come, it's even worse. It's like a zoo out there.
Yeah, they said it just looks like
kids just pulling up and it's like dropping their bike in the front yard except a car.
Yeah, they're just parking however, wherever, like if they're in a field.
So if you happen to own a parking lot striping company, or better yet, a parking lot repaving company.
Correct. I was going to say, or
holla at
a
your boy.
Concrete company, and you want to donate a whole lot. I don't know.
Pray about it. Reach out to us. Yes, you can do it for free. We'll allow you to receive a blessing.
We guess that'll be fine.
Speaking of blessing, I'm glad to be done preaching out of this last series.
You are?
Yes.
You don't like telling your church what the Bible says about giving and generosity?
No, I like it, but I don't like the non-response. I don't like that while I'm preaching, everyone's got their arms crossed. That's not true. We did good. Everybody did a good job.
They did a good job.
But it's just like I would rather be talking about other things.
Anything else. Yeah.
Than money.
Things that are more encouraging and exciting.
And then we shifted. We shifted where we do the offering and service to the end.
Yeah. So
months ago.
Yeah.
And so now it feels like I preach on giving.
I have now preached on giving.
And then now I'm passing the bucket. And it feels a little bit strong army.
Yeah.
But
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
That's right. Hey, it was good though. You read the scripture where God literally says, if you're not giving, you're stealing from him. And yet it was the most lighthearted, fun, and the most engaging. The people actually responded, laughed.
They did. Yeah, it was good.
All the things to that message more than any other one. And so actually, it was brilliant. You did a great job.
Julie, have we posted the video that we shot of me going around town stealing stuff? We should post it. I don't know how, in what context, but
just
we
on
went
social media.
Yeah, we went with the team and post. Maybe we could do a little sermon clip and then the clip and then a little sermon clip after it to help explain what it is. But we went around town and I went to a bunch of different places and stole things on video as a example of how absurd it would be if we just in our daily life were stealing things.
Yeah.
But then we come to church and we don't actually give anything back to the Lord who gave everything to us.
Yeah.
And so I think it was a good way to read a heavy verse with some lightheartedness.
Yeah, and they all laughed. Oh, then they got like punched in the face with the truth. So it was good. No, it was great. Well, you did a great job, but now it's done. You don't have to do that again for a year or two.
Whitney did not go with us on our video shoot. Usually she's riding along, hanging out.
I was prepping for Mother's Day, I think. I don't remember what it was.
Whitney had to preach Mother's Day while we shot this
and
video.
I was like, I could go, and I usually would.
But you know what? It's good that you didn't.
Yeah.
Because we broke a lot of rules.
And I would have been really stressed out.
Yeah, and if you would have been there, you would have been telling me no the whole time.
Yeah. Sorry. I would have been the killjoy of the fun.
You would have been trying to get permission
let's ask
instead
first.
of just to do it.
Yeah. No, right. This is the dichotomy between the two of us.
We wanted to get a shot of me stealing a gold necklace. And so we're walking around the Parks Mall, which has a little urban flavor, at the Parks Mall. And we were walking by and it was like, these people are not going to let us do this.
No.
And so finally I went up to a lady and pretended like I was going to buy this necklace. And so I'm talking to her and, I got Julia and I'm going like, get the camera. So Julia gets her phone out and I'm talking to the lady and I just turn around and run off.
Yeah.
And the lady real stuff thought I was stealing her necklace.
Of course she did.
And then I came back, I was like, no, I'm just playing. I'm just joking.
And I'd have been there crying like, I'm sorry, please don't send us to jail.
Yeah, it would have been bad.
One detention my whole life. How many?
117 detentions in 1 year.
So it's just the difference. I can't do it. I get too stressed out.
I've been kicked off of every bus I've ever ridden. Like literally all through elementary school, kicked off the bus.
No. I was the one writing down people's names.
You were the one turning in the...
Yeah, when the teacher left the room, like, Whitney, will you take notes if anyone misbehaves? Yes, of course I will.
What did you get your one detention for?
Passing notes, like stupid. It's really dumb.
It probably wasn't even your fault.
It was.
Okay.
So these girls and we had a journal that we would write notes in, but then we would pass it back and forth. There was 4 of us. Now, what I will say... You
were talking about little Bobby Stevens and his haircut and his baseball uniform?
And what I will say is there was some foul language in it.
Whoa!
And it wasn't my foul language.
We've never heard Whitney say a swear word ever.
Yeah, never. But it actually wasn't my foul language. It was someone else's. And but what happened was...
They wrote, shut up.
Yeah, they were calling a girl a certain name that's not very nice about a female dog and different things like that.
Whoa.
And we were like writing back and forth. I don't even know. It's so stupid because I went to a private school where, yes, you change classes, but you change classes with the same people. So it's not like, you and I might have second period together, but I don't see you again until fifth period. No, we were still going from first, second, third, same. It's stupid.
With the same group of kids?
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
And so it was
Why didn't they just have a different teacher come in?
It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. And so why we're passing notes when we're in the same class, I have no idea. But I'll never forget. And this is the thing. That feeling, don't you get that feeling? When you were getting the detentions, didn't you get that like,
no.
You don't get the like poop sweats and like the bubble guts in your belly?
No, because as I was receiving my detention, I was also receiving laughter from my audience called my classmates.
I'll never forget. She actually caught it on my desk. And so I remember the teacher walked by and like grabbed the notebook and like opened it and was like, Whitney, what is this? And I'm like, I don't know. And she took it, she read it. She was like, this is rude. Y'all are
Whitney
not nice.
Brooke Taylor.
100%. That's probably even what she said. I don't know. I was so sad and crying and not really. I did cry in 4th grade every so stupid. Every like day your parents had to sign this little steno notebook, like your homework and like, and one time I forgot. And so I got 5 whole minutes off my recess. 5. My mother worked at the school. I see her at lunch time and I start sobbing to my mother. What a wuss was I? But I did. And I'm like, you didn't sign my notebook.
We would have not been friends.
No, it would not have been good.
We would have not been friends.
But that's me. So, yep. So I got a detention after school. It was a big deal. But it was one time.
I got kicked off the bus because I threw 5 kids' backpacks out the window. We got in a fight. I took these kids' backpacks and just started throwing them out the window. Yeah, so I'm saying we're very different. While laughing, yelling at the bus driver, you can't tell me nothing, throwing backpacks out the window.
And I'm like, it was trusted. It was trusted. Yeah. That's who I was. Awesome. Good thing we met much later in life.
Very different situation.
Yeah, so you had more fun. And yeah, the video was excellent. Had I gone, it probably would not have been as extreme because I would have been scared.
Yeah.
What?
No, I was going to try to have a Whitney transition into our conversation topic of the day.
Oh, we'll do it.
Okay, let me try. So we wouldn't have been friends back in elementary school, but we are friends now.
We are friends now. That's
and you know
true.
where we met?
When?
In the church.
That's true.
That's where we became friends.
Yep, we met almost 15 years ago on the very first interest meeting of our church, yeah?
Yep. Oh, you know.
Well, I met your wife. I don't know
Yeah.
if I met you, but I met
That's
your
what
wife.
we should say. Me and Winnie are not married to each other. We have this. We have this come up on a regular basis, which I understand. It makes sense.
Yeah, people are confused.
Yeah,
but-
people think Rachel and Aaron, our spouses, are married to each
Yeah,
other
that's
because
not
they
real.
sit next to each other at stuff. But here's me and my wife.
Poor Julia.
Here's Rachel or Whitney and Aaron.
I can't do the sounds as good.
So those are the people that we're married to.
I have to sound like I'm hawking a loogie and then.
And so our families are friends.
That's true.
But that means that me and Whitney are also friends.
Yeah, we've been friends
We
a long
should.
time.
We keep saying that we're gonna. You know what we need to do?
What?
We need to just let Rachel and Aaron do an episode.
Yeah. You know what their episode would be?
Got chaos.
Making fun of us the whole time.
Oh yeah, making fun of us.
Mocking us the whole time. Guaranteed.
Actually, be.
Just kidding.
If you want that to happen, hit us in the comments.
Yeah.
Tell us you want a Rachel and Aaron
Do it.
Episode.
That's true. That's
talking
funny.
about chaos.
Chaos.
They would tell the funniest stories
On us.
on us.
100% they would.
Okay. So
So-
our families became friends in
Yeah.
church. I was a pastor of the church.
Yep.
And Aaron and Whitney were parishioners.
Parishioners.
Aaron and
people
Whitney
in the
were
church.
attendees of the
That's
church.
true.
They were congregants. They were
Yep.
people that were attending and getting involved. And then we struck up a friendship, which was, dude, so many thoughts, which was challenging
Okay.
in my mind a little bit because when we were first friends,
Yeah.
the four of us would get together, and it was when Rachel was still teaching in high school.
Yeah.
And so we would talk about Rachel's job, and Aaron's at the airport, at the small airport, and we'd talk
Yeah.
about Aaron's job. And Whitney was we're working for Procter & Gamble, so we're talking about her sales job. And then I worked at the church that they all attended,
Yeah.
and I won't say nothing
Yeah, not really. No, you're right.
because it's kind of weird.
Like you would say,
I mean,
like
positive, oh, there's this event
there's
coming
this
up,
thing,
or-
and I hope you guys are coming, and blah blah. But it was nothing like if
I'm
I was like,
stressed or-
oh, I'm so frustrated, I gotta discipline this one employee tomorrow, blah blah. Blah. You wouldn't have been able to be like, or you wouldn't have been like, yeah, we got in this disagreement, and now I'm having to have this conflict conversation with this person.
Right.
Yeah. None of those friend level
Yeah.
conversations.
But over time,
Yeah,
over
over
6 or
time.
7
Yeah,
years,
long time.
I started to realize I need friends too. I
Yeah.
need a place to talk about and process what I'm experiencing as
Yeah.
a human. A couple episodes ago, I'm not a
Just a
robot.
human.
I'm just a human.
Yeah.
And so we started talking about what was going on in my mind and my
Yeah,
heart.
yeah.
And the four of us, our friendship really
Blossomed.
blossomed.
Yeah, that's a real word. I think that also in that season, or in those 6 years, we had all collectively, well, at least Rachel and I, in those first 6 years, had gone through like massive life situations with our families, and so the four of us became friends like deeper through some of that life processing. But then, in that next season, you started going through your own like stuff personally. That it was like, okay, we were trustworthy in the season that we went through what we went through. Rachel went through what she went through. Like, we were able to be there for each other, and we had a proven track record of real friendship and support. No gossip, no slander, no backbiting. I don't
Yeah.
even know the words you can say. So now this is a safe place, a safe friendship, a safe relationship to then be able to process real life with.
Well, yeah, I had seen Rachel's dad come back into our family,
Yeah.
and you guys processed that with us.
Yeah, yeah.
Rachel and I had 2 kids.
Yeah.
And you guys helped us, like, in
Yeah.
that whole. So we had a lot of experience,
Life experience.
together.
Yeah.
That was like, okay, I can start opening up. But I think and then from there, as we're pastors, then later on, Whitney came on
Yeah.
staff
Staff.
and stepped into a pastoral position.
Right,
But
right.
we were friends before
Absolutely.
you
Before
and
that.
Aaron were pastors
Yeah.
here. But I think that for a lot of times as pastors, it's hard to find safe places to actually process what you're going through as a person.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's hard because the pastor is supposed to have his junk together.
Right.
And when he doesn't have his junk together, it's hard to have a place to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, I just have so many thoughts. Pastors, I've always been committed that I'm going to always respond to an altar call An altar call is just like if you feel convicted or want to have a God encounter, that you'll get out of your chair and kind of walk down in front of everybody
or like if there's a message that you've received, then like at the end there's like a challenge or like a
And so since I've been a kid, I've always been willing to go and respond to the altar call, but I think that a lot of pastors won't, or feel like not that they don't want to, they feel like they can't, because if they and their wife go and cry in front of the congregation, then it creates question if the man of God is scared, feels weak, is losing, then is what he preaching true? And so there's this kind of weird struggle.
Well, there's again, so many thoughts. But what's funny or what's interesting, I think, is that, so I had grown up a kid of ministry, so I had a lot of ministry background. So maybe that was part of why the connection worked the way it did. However, what I think is the most interesting is like the intentionality that God had in placing us together as friends. And then for whatever reason in that season, both of us were committed to finding true and real relationship and friendship. And what we didn't know then is what God was going to do with that now.
Right.
What we didn't know then was the like cultural shift that we were going to make in the church and establish in the community of the people that we now are like leading and helping like cultivate. But I think it's such an interesting thing that like, because why I'm trying to say this is I remember when we were just friends, even receiving backlash back then of people like, hey, y'all are just like such good friends. Don't you make people feel left out? Doesn't your relationship make people feel like you're a clique? And and like I can remember before we were even both on like pastoring together, and it wasn't even, I mean, it probably was on your end to you. Hey, they're not pastors, be careful. But it wasn't even to that level. It was also just your relationship is so public, so obvious, so you're so willing to say, this is my best friend. Like, aren't you going to make people feel bad? I can remember receiving that flack intensely.
A lot of flack.
Yeah.
I remember talking about in a message saying that Aaron was my best friend, just in a reference, and getting multiple people stopping me saying like, you shouldn't say that. That makes people feel like they're not as close to you, or they're not as connected or as important to you. And everybody should be at the same, level field. And like, I mean, I get that a little bit, but then I don't get it at all.
Yeah, right.
Because people have people that are closer to them.
Well, even Jesus had 12.
Every person in the Bible
but then he had
the three
that were closer to him. Yeah. And so like, I think it's a funny, it's not reality to put pastors and leaders on a pedestal and be like, hey, they can't have actual relationships. It's not always even just pastors. It's people in leadership type positions. I remember for Aaron in lots of seasons, like none of the people he works with could he be friends with until this moment that he had this one employee that he was friends with. And it was like this very difficult, how do I navigate this? How can we be friends but still work together or lead the other one kind of thing? And it is a difficult it can be a difficult dynamic, but you just have to be intentional to like spell it out and like in any relationship to communicate what it looks like. And so we received a lot of flack, but I think the reason why I wanted to like address that, talk about that, is because I think that a lot of people face that when you get friends with people, so it's backs all the way to junior high, back to when I'm writing notes in the notebook with the girls. It's like, no, they're my best friend. No, you are. No. And it's this insecurity of like, well, if you're best friends with them, then who am I friends with? What about me? Instead of recognizing that we all have interests and like connections and people, and we should all instead find that. Like we should all. And so what people didn't understand for us is that we were trying to model something that we were hoping other people could get for themselves. Right. It was not that you're excluded from us. It's just, hey, what we're doing, I'd love for you to get to be a part of doing that for your life too. Right. And so like nobody's better at, especially Aaron and Rachel, at helping other people find other friends that they can be great friends with.
I think what you said is great to pull on the model. We were trying to model what friendships as adults should look like. Yeah. Like friendships as adults should go beyond tacos and queso and margaritas and movies and like that's a part of friendship, maybe like going and spending time doing activities, but those are just double dates.
Mm-hmm.
But if you notice what Whit was saying at the beginning, we went through hell together and back as people. Each of us had things explode in our lives, and we were able to rally around it, and we cried together and prayed together, and we're stressed out together, and we've lent each other money, and like all of these different things that we've done to help us as people.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to model, and like more than acquaintances.
Yeah. And that's what I think is funny, because I think anybody who is poking at it has never had that.
Right.
Anybody who is poking at it only lives at an acquaintance level.
Yeah.
They don't allow anybody in close enough to actually see their dirty. One of the lines we used to say all the time is like, if you won't let them into your dirty house, then you'll never let them into your dirty life, or your messy house. You'll never let them into your messy life.
We as friends no longer even call before we need to go over. Rachel and I were over at Aaron and Whitney's house, and they had something. Oh, you talked about the termite thing in your house.
Oh, yeah.
And she pulls us into their bedroom. Me and Rachel stand in their bedroom. They're dirty laundry and crap all over. Whitney will come over to our house. Rachel's got her in our master bathroom in the closet, and I've got just crap all over the floor. But it's because our relationship is so far beyond being nervous that you're going to not like me because of that.
Yes, right.
Like, you're not going to be like, dude, look at Tristan's, like, look, he's got socks everywhere and his shoes aren't organized. Like,
no,
none of that matters.
No.
But I think that we live as an adult. It can be easy to just have acquaintances and not real friends.
Yeah.
And the people that have thrown shade saying that a pastor shouldn't have friends within his own people, man, I think you just have a wrong perspective.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's different perspectives. And maybe there's different personalities, different seasons, different things. But the truth is, you hear those phrases like, it's lonely at the top. And like, statistically speaking, what is it? Men over the age of 30, it's only like 3% that say they have a great friend or something. It's like terrible. I don't remember the exact percentage. But I'm like, but it's only that way unless you choose for it not to be that way.
And like, as an adult, you're still lonely sometimes.
For sure.
Like, Aaron is my best friend. Aaron isn't a pastor.
Right.
And so Aaron doesn't preach on a weekly basis.
Right.
And so there's some things that are stressors to me that Aaron doesn't all the way understand.
Right.
And so he can't really empathize. I do not work in a governmental system and have to navigate the political stresses that Aaron has to navigate.
Yeah.
So I can't really be a perfect sounding board for his stresses.
Yeah.
And so there's still like moments that you're like, man, I feel kind of alone in this.
Yeah.
I feel kind of like I don't know what to do. But thank God I'm not alone in it. Like, I feel alone in 5%, but yet I'm surrounded in 95%.
Well, and then I think the other piece is you have to be go ahead.
No, I'm going to change the topic a little.
Well, before we do, then I think the other piece of that is what you just said. When we became friends, we didn't actually look like we matched. We had small kids.
Correct.
You had no kids. We'd been married, I think, 10 years. You'd been married 5 or something. I don't know. And we didn't look like we matched, or we didn't look like maybe who we would have chosen if you just went to a magazine of friendships and picked.
I've never golfed.
Right. All these things, like some of our, like, the way we grew up, the like.
Rachel straight Hispanic, Whitney straight white.
Right. Like, it weren't the same. And I think that so often what you're saying there too is like people who are lonely, it's like, well, you're unwilling to try the people that God's brought into your life to actually try them out as friends.
Yeah.
God's brought them in front of you, but because of this, that, or the other, you've disqualified them from even attempting to get to know them to see if they're a good friend or a good fit, because you might be surprised, because the heart of our friendship actually has nothing to do with interest in golf and being white and like, it's the heart and the love and care for each other as individuals of like, you can't always empathize with him, he can't always empathize with you, but because you both understand that, you fight to find other ways to support each other. You fight to find, because at the end of the day, I just care about you. And I think so many people, because I hear it a lot, oh, I'm lonely, or oh, I don't have any friends, or oh, I wish I had one. And I'm like, well, yeah, but there's that person, that you haven't even attempted to see if it would be a good fit, because you've just kind of disqualified them thinking it doesn't match. I don't know.
Or you've been friends with them. You've been chips and salsa friends, but you've never talked the ugly. You've never admitted, hey, me and my wife are in a fight.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, we can't come to dinner. We're in a fight, and neither of us really want to
talk right.
try to smile right now.
Right.
Like those
sure.
Those kind of conversations, you have to have them.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's like, hey, me and Rachel just had a fight. We're kind of bent out of shape. I know we had dinner plans. We don't want to go. And they'll say, no, that's exactly why we're going.
Yeah.
And then the entire dinner is just talking about our fight.
Right. Which is fine.
Or their fight. Or
right.
their family stress or our family stress or whatever it is. But you've got to have those people. But what I was going to say is that it's just so sad, because then if I'm not allowed to be friends with Aaron, I'm not allowed to be friends with Tim.
Right.
What if I can't be friends? Tim's one of my best friends in the world. What if I can't be friends with Tim?
Right.
What if I can't be like? It just becomes so like such a weird. Oh well, you know what it becomes. We become priests. They aren't allowed to have wives, and we just have to live in the building and wear these little black robes and be monks.
Right.
And so, like, how's that working?
Yeah. Or if
how's that working to make these guys be alone?
Well, we know how it's working.
Right.
It's not. And I think that's the whole thing is like, so what I hear a lot of times from people in leadership, pastoral, whatever positions are, okay, then you just need to find people in the same industry as you, but are your counterpart, but somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's not feasible for day-to-day life. Like, that's not, you might see them at conferences or at maybe even you can have lunch once a week or once a month or whatever, but it's not daily rubbing shoulders, and therefore it becomes easy to hide your life. It becomes easy to not be accountable to anybody.
Right.
It becomes easy to become isolated and on an island. And so while in theory that sounds like a less messy way to have friendships, and to have them also be able to empathize. Another guy who's writing a sermon every week can more empathize with you writing a sermon every week. Right. But you're running what you're running, and he's running what he's running, or she's running what she's running. How in the world can you possibly also maintain a relationship at the same time?
Well, that's like saying that you and your wife should just have a long distance relationship only.
Yes.
Because like some of my really great friends, some of my best friends, I've got a guy in Austin.
Yeah.
I've got a guy in Michigan. But like that 4 hours and that 20 hours is too far for me to see those guys on a daily basis.
Right.
And I think that we have to be in elbow rubbing room to really do life together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just like plan a big designated trip.
Right.
Okay. We've talked a bunch about like the pastoral side.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have done this whole conversation backwards. So we apologize. But I think something I hear about a lot in church world is like this idea of cliques.
Yeah.
Since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like literally since I was 12, I've heard this like, well, the church is just full of cliques and you're either in or you're out.
Right.
And I think that that's something that we need to break down about what's the right way and the wrong way.
Yeah. No, it's really good. So again, you said it from the very beginning, even from some of the first messages spoken, that was a thing that was, we were accused of, I guess. A clique is, in my mind, something that is very exclusive. Have you seen the, what is it called? What are the Heathers? Julia, what are the Heathers? What is that show?
Heathers.
Yeah, the girls, Mean Girls, right? Isn't it Mean Girls? I don't know. Like, the cliques of the movies that are like the girls that are so cool, and it's the Heathers, I think, right? And they're all named Heather or something. I don't know. But these are like exclusive groups that only certain people are allowed to be a part of, that you're not invited in, that you don't get to sit at our lunch table, like this whole thing. And I think that's where it stems from. People who say that most often were kids that feel very insecure about whatever happened to them in high school or junior high school, because that's a place that kind of...
Well, it's like this cool kid table.
Yeah.
And then everybody else.
Yeah.
And so, you know, one of our values here is that we're party starters.
Yeah.
And like, we explain that we're party starters just in that we like to have fun and we throw a party. But the other piece of that is that we start the party.
Correct.
And Rachel and I, for years of our marriage, were waiting to get invited to a party.
Yeah.
Because we weren't the cool kids. I wanted to get invited to the cool kid table. But then we realized, no, I'm just going to start a party.
Right.
And I'm going to start inviting people
to my party.
to my
Right.
table. And so the mentality, I think our mentality has to shift, that it's not that there's a clique. It's that there's just a different kind of community and culture here in what we're doing. And so start your own friend group, but just don't be exclusive.
I think that's the whole thing, because
the way that our friendship really grew is by us taking other couples out to dinner.
Absolutely. Yeah. In the beginning of the church, that was literally what we would do. It was like, oh, here's a new couple. Let's go take them. Let's get to know them. Let's make them feel welcome.
So if the football team jocks are exclusive to the band guys, well, then that's problematic.
Right.
That's a separation. Maybe I shouldn't say problematic, because these guys just have common interests. So
Correct.
it makes sense that motorcycle dudes hang out with motorcycle dudes and that hunting guys hang out with hunting guys.
Right.
That's not problematic. It's just like their interests based.
Right.
But in the church, we're all here on this common interest of like Jesus and faith and growth. And then there are groups that just connect to each other.
I think about it.
But that doesn't mean that they're exclusive. And if we stand in the
Absolutely.
background and call them exclusive, it's because we're unwilling to make our own.
Right. Right.
Instead of waiting to be invited in, start inviting others to you.
Well, I have two thoughts. The first one, something else about you and I's personality is that we don't mind inviting ourselves anywhere.
That's true.
You and I are both the type of personality that's like, oh, y'all are going to lunch? I'll go. I would like to go. We just assume that you would like to invite me. And I understand that that's not necessarily everyone's personality.
Right. It's also obnoxious. We are both a little obnoxious.
Yeah,
and we're
we are
aware of it.
obnoxious people. It's fine. But I think that, again, like
one
you're
of us maybe more than the other one.
What?
But we're both somewhat obnoxious.
It's ridiculous. But like, because of that, I think for us, one, it was so like, what? No, I mean, if you want to come, just invite yourself. Like, come along. So like, the heart of a clique is not that. A heart of a clique is you're only allowed if you're invited. The opposite is like everyone's invited. And what you said, sometimes it's just what you're doing together. The reason why we became such great friends, we were doing ministry together. We were showing up to help set up and tear down. If you needed somebody to literally, like, I don't even know what, to set up your tent for whatever, the chili cook-off, for the Christmas reindeer truck, I don't know. Any event, we're there. We'll come show up and help you. And so the people, anybody who might be offended, is like, well, did you show up and help? Well, did you come and be a part? No. Oh, well, there's like, there's a sacrifice involved in every relationship. And so if you want to go make the friendships, you have to be willing to put in the work. And the other side of what I'm thinking is, I think about, because Julia's sitting here, I'm thinking about like the young adults of our church. It would be easy to say that a lot of our young adults that lead our youth team, we don't have like a youth pastor, we have like a youth team. And yeah, there are certain people who maybe carry different loads heavier than others, but they really work well together all together. It would be easy for someone on the outside looking in to be like, oh, that's just a clique of people that are leading youth together. No, they're in an interest group leading together, and they're very welcoming to anybody else who wants to show up and also do the same work. And I think what you have to do is, we all like to judge things from the outside instead of looking at the heart of it and getting to know the heart of it and recognizing, no, the intentionality is just two are better than one. What is the verse? Like, a cord of three strands is not easily broken. Like, the more we can do life together, I would have died in the season where my life and my family's life was imploding if it was only Aaron and I.
Right. And you and Aaron may have.
I was going to say, our marriage would have literally, I mean, it went through hell, but it would have gone through.
It would have withered at least.
Real hell. Had we not had friends that were like, come on, you're okay, you're going to make it. Like, don't forget, he's nice, you love him, all these things. And like, yes, what you're saying is the new perspective of like, start your own party or join the party. Like, have you even attempted to be a part? Now, again, that's our culture. That may not be everyone's culture.
Yeah.
Go.
The clique idea or the group idea, there's also just a level or a number of one person is able to relationally connect to.
100%.
So like, practically, I work out every morning with a guy named Kyle.
Right.
Kyle Bunch.
Yeah.
Should I say his name on the internet? He don't care.
He don't care.
My name's Trustin Babbitt. What? Okay, well, that's my name.
All right.
So me and Kyle work out
You're
together.
only talking nice about him.
Kyle and I like Kyle. Kyle likes me. We have a good relationship. But do you know what me and Kyle can't do? Work out with 9 guys in the morning.
Right, right.
I cannot functionally have a good leg day workout when there's 9 other dudes putting plates on and taking plates off and asking questions and getting their sets in. It's not about like, I love Kyle more than I love somebody else. It's just that this is the guy that I'm doing it with. That's not bad.
No worries.
But I think that sometimes if we're not Kyle, we call it bad.
Yeah. That's really good. That's a really good perspective.
It like, how many people can you have over your house for dinner? 3 couples, 4 couples?
Right.
Before all their kids start causing chaos. Like, I think that it's not that there's people being excluded. It's just that these are the people that are in a relationship with me. I remember when Rachel had Lillian. Mm-hmm. And some of Rachel's family was there early. And when Lillian came, Rachel flatlined.
Yeah, yeah.
Like literally flatlined. I thought she died. Doctors are rushing in. I'm having like an existential crisis that my wife is dead and I now have this newborn daughter. But Rachel comes back and she's okay. And so I walk out of the hospital room and there's one of Rachel's family members. And I like fall all the way apart. I'm crying. I don't know if y'all were there yet.
I was there. Yeah.
But we're not all the way yet who we are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I say to Rachel's family member, I say just what happened. And I said, the only people that need to be out here are A-level relationships.
Yeah.
A-level. We understand that I just experienced a traumatic thing. My wife is like fighting for life back here and there's a newborn baby. This is not time, but there's 50 people in the waiting room. Mm-hmm. There's really 50 people that are out there and want to see the baby and want to come and see us and have us tell them the story. And I'm like, I don't want to see anybody except A-level relationships.
Yeah.
And I stand by that statement. But the family member that I said it to was not in our world enough to understand what I meant. And he's only seeing me as a pastor, and he got offended at me.
Yeah.
Because how dare you as a pastor have A-level relationships?
Yeah.
And so I'm in this moment, now I'm in conflict with a family member trying to explain that as a pastor, what A-level, this means only my mom and Whitney are coming into this room.
Yeah.
Whitney and Aaron and my mom and maybe Rachel's mom.
Right.
These are the only people that are allowed in here.
Yeah.
And I think that if we can't understand that we all have A-level relationships, we're fooling ourselves. Or we've never been in a traumatic moment and transparent enough to admit it.
Right.
That there are certain moments that only certain people can come into the situation.
It's really true. And that's really good.
And it's taken me years with this family member to help him understand what that statement meant. That I don't view people as B, C, D people.
No.
Because he would make jokes, well, what, am I D-level person? I'm like, no, dude, I'm sorry that this traumatic moment that I had to delineate who can come in and who can't come in.
You were in a traumatic moment.
But I think
not hold you responsible for every word out of your mouth.
But I think that the illustration, the phraseology holds true.
100%.
That we all have people that are closer to us, and that doesn't mean that it's bad.
Well, and what you said is true. In those A levels, whatever, those are trusted. What you knew in that moment was, I trust the relationship level of these people. I trust the way they're going to react in this moment. Mm-hmm. I trust the words that are going to come out of their mouth. And you have to have those people that you can trust their motives, their words, their responses, their ability to. I remember that moment very well, and actually was one of the ones that had to help navigate sending people home because that wasn't able to be handled well from that moment, but from that person. But you have to have people that can then know your heart know who you are, know what you mean. You and I have seen each other in some of our worst moments. But I trust that if I act like a fool, you know me enough that you're going to forgive me, guard me, and not hold it against me.
Yeah, I'm going to correct you and cover you.
Yes. Because...
Like, hey, shut up. What did you say?
Stop it.
No, that's not what she... Hey, man, that's not what she means. You better be quiet.
Right.
That's what a real friend
will do.
You know what a fake friend does? Pulls their phone out,
Golly.
starts videoing your tail,
Golly.
and starts sending it to some other people.
Jeez.
And we all know those situations that have happened to us.
Have experienced them. 100%.
Have experienced those. And so we have to having A-level relationships isn't bad.
No, it's necessary.
All of those other people that were at the hospital when Lillian was born are our friends.
You love them.
I love all of them.
Right.
I want to have meals with them. I will talk to them about 90% of my life.
Right.
But there's 10% of my life that it's just too much for me to try to unpack all the time.
And like you said, it's not even necessarily that they're not trustworthy of those things. It's just that there's only a capacity for you to know that deep level of trust with so many people. We all only have the capacity we have. And so, anybody who, I think it's a dangerous thing. And to me, the reason why I think we fought so hard against it is because I believe that it's one of the things that has divided and hurt the Big C church corporately across America, is because people say that, oh, that's just a church full of cliques. Oh, that's just a bunch. And I'm like, is it? Or is it just a church full of community? Like, there's a very big difference. Between bars. There's a very big difference between those things. And so, like Tim says it about us. He says, even our haters can agree. The one thing even our haters can like agree about is that we do community better than anybody else. And so it's not cliques. It's a fight for real, authentic community. And it's different. What are you thinking?
No, so many things. I mean, my hope is that all of you guys that are listeners find a real friend. A real community of friends that you can call on any moment. A real friend will cry with you through the bad and not be happy that you're hurting. And they'll genuinely celebrate your victories. Like, Aaron's my friend because he's not my competitor.
Right.
I could get asked to preach at the Potter's house, and they'd pay them pay me $100,000 to preach a sermon, and Aaron would be excited for me.
And sit on the front row.
And amen, and shake a hanky the whole time. And never think once, I wish it was me. It must be nice. But I think that until we can find those people that only can cheer at our advancements and genuinely hurt when we're hurting, then we're lacking. We're lacking something in life. And so find those people. It's super good and super important. And then check yourself before you start judging somebody else's relationship scenario. Like, I think that's another piece of it, is like, if you're feeling like, oh, that group is just a clique, are they, or are you feeling insecure? You really have to allow yourself, you have to be willing to be self-aware enough to actually ask that and check yourself, like, to see if that's really real, And that insecurity, it's just the unwritten curriculum of your life. We don't even have time. Winnie and I went and met with one of our mentors, and he dropped this sentence. He's talking to me. I'm not even going to tell the whole story. He's talking to me, and he says, oh, well, Tristan, that's just a part of the unwritten curriculum of your life. And I about fell out of my chair because it's such a giant concept
that he said so nonchalantly, and we're both like, oh God.
But we all have this unwritten curriculum, this like unwritten thought processes.
That we've acquired years in our life.
And insecurity is one of those, because we didn't get invited to the birthday party, and because our sister was cooler than we were. And because there was 3 friends in middle school, and so we were always the third wheel that felt left out. All of these feelings, they cause us to look and judge stuff instead of learn from it and step into it. And fight for it. Super good. Dude, I hope that all of you have a friend or make a friend. And it doesn't happen in 1 minute. No. Because you can't fabricate hardship to walk through. You can't, like, the reason that our families are, let's forget our families. The reason that me and Tim are close is because me and Tim have been friends for 20 years. Right. Because I've been there when Tim's mom passed. Tim's been there when I've been having panic attacks in this green room at the Pig. Tim's been there laying hands on me, praying for me. He's been there correcting me when I've been too hard on something. I've been there giving him direction about how to do this.
No, it's good.
He's had to tell me the kind of pastor I am. I've had to tell him the kind of dad that he is.
Right.
But that doesn't just happen over 3 lunches.
No.
That happens over 3 decades. That happens over like a long time of people choosing to be, I almost said naked, but transparent, open, vulnerable in front of each other.
Emotionally naked.
Emotionally naked in front of each other. That now me and Tim, we trust each other.
Yeah.
He could say the hardest words to me.
Right.
Enrique could say the hardest words to me, and I would trust. Yesterday, we had a meeting with Enrique. He called me and went in. Enrique said some stuff that at the beginning I was super confused, but as I listened, I was like, oh, I hear his heart, and I'm thankful that he's bringing some correction to me a little bit. Because through battles, right, you become blood brothers, and you can start to trust each other.
But at the same time, you can't only find the friend in the middle of the fight. You have to have been intentionally working to find them and hold on to them and show up for them and do the things for them. Like, I think back to like our friendships, and like we showed up for each other, not in necessarily hard, traumatic things, but just in regular everyday life things. So that when the hard stuff hit, then obviously I'm here. If you only show up,
so good.
If you're 2 pieces, if you only are hoping someone will show up in the middle of the fight, but you've never shown up for them, well, why in the world would they? But then on the other side of it, if somebody only is showing up for you in the middle of the fight, be careful. That's another piece of it. But but you've got to be, because you're talking about it. I'm like, it's just longevity. It's just being consistent and making a decision of like, that's the other piece. They're 3 years into our friendship, I'm sure. I don't know. There was probably a year in, probably 6 months in. I don't know. There was opportunity for offense or for confusion or for whatever to show up and to divide. But there was a decision of like, no, we'll fight through this because the longevity is necessary, because I need not a fair weather friend, but a friend that will show up in the fight.
We had no kids, and you worked every Saturday.
Right. No, right. You're right.
And so like Rachel's a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm a pastor, so I'm off Saturday.
Right.
We have no kids. So Saturday was just our like fun stuff day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Whitney couldn't do stuff.
Right. No, you're
and
right.
so our friendship was not, and then they had kids.
Yeah.
And so in our friendship, we would go to school recitals.
Right.
I wouldn't watch McKinley. I wouldn't watch McKinley play. I don't know how many horrible basketball games as a 3rd grader. Because we were just being friends together. And that's what it took in that season.
Yeah.
Then, 6 years later, Aaron's burping Titus to put him to bed. So it's hard. I saw a video a while ago of, it was like at a car show or something, and there's a big storm coming in. There's these big tents, like over the food and over the stuff of these like different companies. I don't know what it was exactly. And the big wind comes through, and there's one guy trying to hold down his tent, and then the other tent, there's like 2 guys on each leg, and the wind comes through, and the one guy's tent blows away, and he's standing there in the rain, his tent and all his crap's gone. And then the other guys, 2 guys per leg, are holding his tent down, they wrestle it, and the wind stops, and their tent was saved. And it made me think of what you said. You've got to have friends before the storm.
Yeah.
Because when the storm hits, they're not grabbing your tent.
No.
Unless they're already your boys, unless they're already a part of your clique.
Right.
Unless they're already with you.
Because your tent is my tent.
Your tent is my tent.
But if I didn't know you before, then I don't care what happens to your tent. I got to protect myself.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, it's super good. It's super, you just made me think a bunch of stuff. And then like, oh yeah, I'm so thankful for Tim. Like I'm thinking about times when Tim has covered me and been like, she crazy, but it's fine. Look over here, you know.
But I remember, I don't know if Amy Chin was there when Rachel gave birth to Lillian.
I don't know. I can't remember.
But I remember wishing Amy was there.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to get emotional.
Because she would have been
because
able to
I was so freaked out.
Yeah.
That I was just like, who can help me?
Yeah.
Who can Who can help? There are 80 people in this
Right.
waiting room. Who can help me communicate to them? And I remember thinking, I wish Amy was here.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Amy is just one of those friends that I know has got my back.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not saying it right, even if I'm a mess on the floor, I just knew she's going to have the words to say.
Yeah.
And whatever she says, it's going to kind of sound like me.
Right. Right.
And so that's what that's what I hope all of you have. That's what I hope. And, you know, we have a lot of other pastors that listen to the podcast. So we film this for our people.
For our church, for our people.
But there's a lot of other
also,
pastors and churches that are engaged in the content. And if you're a pastor, I don't think that you should be afraid of finding friends in your church.
No.
Please don't listen to this lie that it's lonely at the top and you can't have friends in the church. Because a lot of the pastors that I know, they're just kind of competitive guys in a pissing contest anyways. And every time they talk to me, well, how many are you running? Well, what's your budget? How's your building camp? And it's like, no, dude, can we just talk about like the Planet of the Apes movie and like my marriage and my weight gain and my children?
Yeah.
Like, can't we just talk about these other things that have nothing to do with the church?
Right.
Find a friend in your church, take them to dinner.
Super.
Make sure your wives like each other.
How do I know? How do I know they're trustworthy? How do I know they're like, I can hear the question. And the first thing I think is who shows up?
Who shows up?
Who, when you needed help, when something's going awry, when you have a planned event that you hope somebody shows up to, who shows up?
I talked about it just this last week in our staff meeting. We did, me and Brady, shout out, came up with this great idea a couple of years ago on Easter, where we had this big banner where we threw eggs.
It was a great idea.
Where we threw raw eggs at the picture of the devil on Easter. And I'll never forget that after, it caused such a big mess.
Yeah.
And after that, when we're cleaning it up, I remember Michael Bennett helping me. And I'm standing there, and this is like a professional man. This guy is like well respected in the community.
I remember you told me afterward. I remember.
And I just preached. And I'm not going to just make other people clean this up. So I'm out there physically cleaning it up because it's my brilliant idea. And I remember Michael helping me put this thing in the bed of his truck. He's getting egg juice all over the place. And we drive around the dumpster. That's how you start to see your friends.
Yeah, it's good.
Because Michael's now on our team.
Yeah.
But it's because all of these moments that I see him, I see who he is as a person.
Right. Right.
But I think the pastors screw it up because they just go to golf with the biggest giver.
Right.
They go to golf.
If I was Tim Ross, I'd do this.
They go
right.
have dinners
it's
and
so
they vacation with the people with the yacht and the boat
that they don't really
people
like,
that can help build their missions campaign. Listen to, I mean, maybe there's like the luck of the draw that I wish Aaron was an eccentric millionaire.
Right.
That would be incredible.
Maybe one day.
But like, how fun would it be if Aaron just had bukus of bucks? That would be fantastic.
Right.
But I think that pastors, we can get it confused. Just go find a friend. Who's somebody? I went over to Robin Moody's house this last week and I spent an hour and a half with him looking at the stuff that he does a bunch of things, but one of the things his hobby is he does metal art.
Yeah.
And I'm like blown away. And I'm like, I'm having a friendship conversation with this guy. Now, I'm still pastoring him.
That's the other piece.
But I'm still pastoring Aaron.
I was going to say, that's the other piece.
I still bring correction and operate in authority in these relationships, but not just because I'm a bully, because they're men of humility.
Right.
And so that relationship is not determined by the pastor. That relationship is determined by the follower.
For sure.
Aaron's ability to view me as a spiritual authority in his life is the thing that makes me a pastor, not me pretending like I'm holier.
It's true. That's really good.
We're getting too long.
No, it's fine, but it's true and really good. And just, who shows up?
We think that we have to live on this like level of godship or something, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, and the pastor on this other plane for people to respect our biblical authority. Listen, the only reason I have any authority is because I'm standing on God's word. Trustin Baba has no authority on his own.
This is the piece.
I have no authority. I'm an idiot. I've only made bad decisions. I'm not that smart. No pastor is. We're not that great. We stand on the authority of God's word and the blessing that he allows for us and the favor that he opens doors for us to step into. We're not heroes. Our names are not even written in the Bible. Correct. We're scrubs.
Right.
I'm not Moses. I'm not Joshua. I'm not any of these guys. I'm a dummy who said yes.
Yeah.
And the authority that I stand on is God's word and the Holy Spirit that lives within me. And guess what? The same Holy Spirit lives in you.
Yeah. No, that's the truth. That's the part I'm like.
It's up to the person.
It's up to
be willing to submit to spiritual authority,
right?
Not for me to demand it.
Yeah.
Because if I have to demand it, I'm not really your leader.
No, that's right. Yeah.
I'm your I'm just Hitler.
But and inevitably you're human, and so the other piece of that is that inevitably if we don't see that correctly and we don't understand that relationship and we don't understand the words of spiritual authority correctly, then that is where manipulation, a ton of pain, confusion when somebody is human, all kinds of things gets really jacked and hurts and damages people, which is a different topic, I know.
But there's different moments of operation too, as people. So me operating in a anointing, me operating in one of my spiritual gifts, leading or preaching or bringing correction, is very different than me snuggling at night with Titus or Lillian as they're falling asleep. But yet I'm the same person. But I'm not operating that same authority and power there. When I'm intimate with my wife, I do not carry the same tone in my voice as when I'm preaching. But yet I'm one person. And so to expect that a pastor has to have that same authority that he does when he has a mic in his hand and the lights on him, when he's just at lunch with a friend, it's just a confusion of the call.
In both directions.
Both directions.
Because some dudes think that they're in authority at all times too, and that's also a problem.
That's a huge problem. Because then we become non-husbands and
correct
dads and non-anything. We're just God bots.
Yeah.
We become kings.
I was going to say. It's
we're
not
really kings.
It's not really God bots. It's a manipulation of what God has asked you to do.
I love Robert Morris. I heard him years ago. He said, you're not going to see a bunch of young men all around me. And what he meant was some of these pastors, they have an entourage with them.
Yeah.
There's one guy carrying a suit jacket, another guy carrying his bag, another guy carrying his Bible, another guy carrying his cologne bottle. I've seen this. And
right.
Pastor Robert, he said, I can carry my own Bible. Like, I'm just a guy. I can carry my own Bible. And it's this humble heart, this humble approach that's like, yeah, we have to have that in check. We're getting kind of off topic.
No, I know,
but not really.
But I think that again, if you are
we're talking to 1/10 of the audience.
Yeah, but if you are a leader, pastor, person, and you think you can't be friends with people because you are the spiritual authority, then you're jacked.
Get off your high horse.
Get off your own throne that you created for yourself.
And admit that all sin is common to man.
Yeah, and that you're human and you're not perfect. But then on the other side of it, yeah, people are, we all need friends. We all need friends. If you think you don't, yeah, what you said, you either haven't lived any life, you've been living in a hole, or you're just lying to yourself.
Sometimes the only way to a new friend is to get rid of an old friend that you shouldn't have anymore. All right, we don't got any time. We don't got any more. We're coming up on an hour. We got to go.
We're done. Okay, we're done.
Well, right?
No, that's super
I
good.
wish I had some good friends. Why can't I have any good friends?
Because you keep
going to Mama Kuka's with a bunch of dummies.
Yeah, that's the other reason. Yeah.
Who's going to the country club tonight? That's why. This is why you're not making progress.
Yeah.
Birds of a feather flock together. You lay down with some dogs, you're going to get it with some fleas.
That's true. You're right. It's good.
Dude, I'm hitting them now.
Oh, you're hitting now. I'm like, one-liner.
All right. Love you guys.
Okay, love y'all.
Hey, if you have any comments, questions, let us know. If you think we shouldn't be friends, go to another church. All right.
Love y'all. Bye.
Say bye.